schools in the city of Detroit. Brandon, so you've come up with this. Right now, I'm sure you know that the Mackinac Policy Conference is taking place on Mackinac Island. It happens this time every year. And the purpose is to develop policy, talk about policy in the state of Michigan. Now that the Institute has come up with this assessment, what do you do with it?
We really do what we're doing now. We try to publish op-eds. We try to talk to people like you and just sort of put our ideas out there, explain why we have them, why we think following our advice would improve schools for kids in the state. But we aren't lobbyists at the state level from our DC office. So this is really all we do. We try to influence people, everyone from parents all the way up to the governor. Just put our ideas out there and tell them why we think they should be followed.
You say you do have lobbyists?
No.
Oh, you don't have lobbyists?
Not in our DC office. We don't lobby.
Okay. So there are no folk in the working in the state legislature who subscribe to your findings and your position on this, working to change the minds of power and in the halls of power in the state of Michigan?
I mean, we put our thoughts out there publicly. We have our own blog, our own research reports, our newsletters, op-eds. So I don't know who in the state has read or think they're good ideas. It's publicly consumable.
How do our listeners go and get a copy of this study?
Well, the school improvement paper that you read isn't actually placed anywhere yet. I did recently publish with my colleague Mike Petrelli a piece in the Detroit News about school accountability, which I think also is a problem in the state. But currently what I think you read isn't available yet. We're trying to place it. But the ideas therein were addressed more generally in a brief that I co-authored, and that can be found on our website, on our publications page. It's called Leveraging ESSA.
It's called what now?
Leveraging ESSA to support quality school growth.
Tell our listeners how they get to the website.
Okay, the website is edexcellence.net, edexcellence.net, and then across the top you'll see a tab called Publications, and it's the third one down on that page. Again, it's called Leveraging ESSA to Support Quality School Growth.
I want to thank you. Go ahead.
And ESSA is a new federal law that we talked about earlier.
What do you want to leave with our listeners?
That all of this stuff is open to change, that you as a person in the community has the power to tell your representatives what's important to you, and that, like you said, a lot of these people really haven't done a good job with schools in recent years, and they need to do better. And it should be really up to the community, up to each and every person there to decide the best way to do that. But there needs to be a plan. And right now, there just isn't a plan.
We've got Vicki in Detroit on the line. Vicki, thank you very much for listening to the Mildred Gaddis Show, and you're on the air with Brandon Wright.
Yes, good morning to you and your guests. As I was listening, I was just wondering, is this company in the education field? How can it give information in regards to or suggest what could be done for the children if they're not in the field of teaching?
So we work in education policy. A huge number of our staff are former teachers, have spent time in the classroom. So we do bring that experience. And we try to take that into account in sort of every policy for which we advocate.
And you mentioned the community. Do you also communicate with the community?
We generally don't try to direct our content to specific people, but like I mentioned, I recently placed an op-ed in the Detroit News. I've been in the Detroit Free Press.